Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. And oh my God, for a Saturday night, it may as well be a morning show. There is so much to talk about. Apparently we've bid for Inacio. Apparently we're going to do a swap deal again for Kvaratskhelia and Rashford. Apparently we're about to sign a new contract for Mainoo, spin. And David Ornstein has been saying that Manchester United regret signing Zirkzee, which is a massive source to be saying that. You'd expect that in The Sun or something like that. And Zlatan has been talking about Marcus Rashford to AC Milan. I also think there is a lot more for us to get into on the show tonight. Mawani and his wage, and Ornstein saying it's a problem for PSR. But then 2 days ago, Ornstein said we haven't got a problem with PSR. Lots to get into. And I think the overarching thing I would say is that it does feel like spin. The only time I thought I'd be using the word spin in 2025 would be to describe Anthony. I didn't think we would be using the word spin anymore. Spin was something we used to talk about quite a lot, probably about 2-3 years ago with the likes of Woodward and Arnold and the Glazers. And yet it feels to me like we are being spun a little bit. I mean, primarily, the number one thing I would say before we get into the transfer news is that Fabrizio Romano is saying that Manchester United are hopeful of sorting a deal out with Kobbie Mainoo with his contract. What did we discuss literally on the day at the start of the week when we were trying to understand why INEOS would be okay with a story being out there that they would sell Kobbie Mainoo? And we came out with a few ideas. Maybe they would sell him. Maybe it's just a distraction. And that distraction would be, we're going to sell Mainoo. We sign him on a new contract 2 weeks later. We're amazing. It's like a new signing in a January transfer window. And you do start to get cynical because we've seen it all before. Why would you allow a story to go out that you're going to sell Kobbie Mainoo? Because you know in 2 weeks he's signing a new contract and it makes you look really good. Oh, we were going to sell him. Not really. Not really. We've signed him on a new contract and it's like a new signing and it's in January. And guess what? The window's shut. And I do think, these are not even tactics that we've not witnessed before. It's happened before. So how can we want to sell Mainoo and then sign him on a new contract? Because it's spin, maybe? I don't know. PR, whatever. And can I just say on PR, I don't think some people understand what PR is. PR is public relations. PR essentially is the ability to look after your reputation by aiming to earn understanding and support and influencing opinion and behaviour. That's what PR is. I think some people think PR is a bad thing. PR goes on everywhere. The NHS will do PR. Your local school will do PR. Your university will do PR. Your local pub does PR. Public relations is about enhancing and gaining support for your reputation. That could be Tuesday night down your local pub, meals for under a tenner. That's PR. It can be bad, it can be good. For me, PR, you don't want people writing lies about you, do you? So we were talking about this last night with Rashford having more clubs than Tiger Woods. That's PR, potentially. It could be, and it benefits Man United. It benefits us. It benefits Rashford. Maybe all these clubs are after him. Maybe some clubs aren't after him. But the more clubs that are after him, the more the clubs that really want him will step up to the plate. Man United might be putting it out there about Monaco. Rashford might be putting it out about Monaco. Monaco might be out there. Public PR is not always a bad thing. Spin's a bad thing. Spin is a bad thing because that's when you get spun. PR, I ain't got a problem with. People do PR. I've got a new book out, this, that, and the other. PR is honest. You can see PR. PR is about enhancing something. Spin is about pretending about something to make people get preoccupied by what you're really doing. So the Mainoo thing, we'll have to just wait and see. Let's talk about some of the transfer stuff. So where to start? Well, look, let's break through some of the barriers here. This afternoon, a story came out that Man United are doing everything they can to get Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, involving a Rashford swap. And I think it came out from L'Equipe in France. Fabrizio Romano this afternoon has said there are no talks about a swap deal with Manchester United and Napoli. Kvaratskhelia Conte, this afternoon, the manager of Napoli, has said that he wants to leave. He wants to leave. Not Conte. Kvara has told them he wants to leave. So he's going. He's gone in January. Massive deal. Just shows you that the January transfer window isn't a dead duck, which is what Man United and John Murta have tried to tell us for years. Anything can happen in January. And that's about to happen. Fabrizio has said the deal to PSG is done in relation to the contract, the wages. It's now about PSG and Napoli finalising the deal. So Kvaratskhelia is going to go. Man United are not going to get this deal done. He's going to go to PSG. I don't really know why we were ever brought into this. I said this 2 days ago. Why were our name brought into this? Is it spin? Is it bollocks? Why were we brought into this? I don't know, because it's preposterous to think that we would ever be in that deal. What I still maintain is that PSG need to find 80 million euros, and they've got a player that wants to play for us. But have we got the money to do anything with it? And I'm talking about Nuno Mendes. So that's where I'm looking at this deal and going, he's going to go to PSG the same way the Benfica midfielder went to PSG, João Neves, and we got Ugarte in return. Now, is there something we can do with Nuno Mendes? And that's all I think about the Kvaratskhelia deal. I've also seen today that Inacio, apparently we're in for Inacio now, of Sporting, the left-footed centre-back. Man United are looking at a loan with an obligation to buy. Sporting want to do a deal for about 35 million euros, which I believe is probably about right, because that's what Plettigol was talking about yesterday. But is that true? Or is that opportunist spin again? You've got Muani, who is a player that Man United want, apparently. But then you've got David Ornstein today saying that Muani is a deal that Manchester United want to do, but the wages are a problem with PSR. So if we can't afford 150 grand a week because of PSR, how the hell are we going to get Inacio from Sporting on a loan with an obligation to buy, or help PSG out and get Mendes? It's all very, very confusing, and there is just so much out there. I mean, you could be sat here tonight really excited about a swap deal for Kvaratskhelia, an Inacio bid, Mendes maybe, Muani. You could be sat there going, this is just a load of nonsense, and we're actually not going to do anything other than probably sign Mainoo on a new contract and say, ta-da, it's like a new signing. Who bloody knows? But I stand by what I've said before. It's it's a mess. And it's funny because I was reading the comments this morning, and look, you don't have to agree. It surprises me in 2025 that people still don't grasp the purpose of the United Stand. It is a community of United fans where everybody is welcome, and you are not meant to agree with what I say. The whole point of it is to generate opinion. So, this whole, you're trying to preach a dictatorship. Anyone who's been here for any number of years knows that's not the case, and would know that this community would never do that. Case in point, Belfast, Marcus Rashford, night out. I was screaming and shouting he hadn't done it, and 99% of you were screaming and shouting that he had. And I was like, absolutely not. And we massively fell out until I had to apologise because I was wrong. So I don't care whether people agree with me or not. Maybe sometimes you will, maybe you never will. But it is a community, and it is about having your opinion. So somebody this morning put it in the comments that because we were quite critical of INEOS, they were saying, I would rather trust a billionaire like Sir Jim Ratcliffe over you or anybody else in these comments, which is quite an interesting statement to say that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I would rather trust what he's doing, even though he's sacking people, not doing transfer business, already sacked his director of football, sacked his manager. Man United are 14th in the league. Everything seems to be going wrong at the moment. Everyone's got the right to say, I'd rather trust billionaire Sir Jim over you, Mark, or anyone in the comments. But all I would say to that is, you're entitled to that opinion. And there are still supporters of INEOS who think that they, shit gold. I want INEOS to do well because I think we're stuck with them and I want them to do well. But if you think because somebody's a billionaire, they're better than you, then you're ridiculously naive. If somebody was performing heart surgery on you and Sir Jim Radcliffe walked in and went, I'm a billionaire, I'll take over from here, would you want Sir Jim to do it, even though the heart surgeon isn't even a millionaire? No. You go with the specialist, wouldn't you? So Jim Radcliffe's a billionaire because he's a very, very intelligent man in a very specific area. It ain't football. So I couldn't give a shit if he's a billionaire. I've seen nothing that makes me think he knows better than any of you about this football club. In fact, I've seen a lot of things that make me think he's not. So don't be lost in life by somebody being wealthier than you, because trust me, wealthy people aren't necessarily better than you. In fact, they're probably wealthy because they're good at something you're not, but it doesn't mean they're better at everything else. These sort of names never happen, says Flaming Mo. Red Devil Germany says, good evening, Mark. How are you? I'm not too bad. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm taking it day to day. How likely is going to West Ham? How likely Rashford is going to West Ham? It must be a joke, says Jahek. Hi, Mark. Travelling from the US to see my first match against Southampton at Old Trafford. We should bloody win. Any recommendations for good pubs in Manchester before the match? I'd get yourself to Bishop's Place if you've got a ticket, but you've got to get there early. Gifted a membership, Mike JBA, and Ronnie's gaming channel has been a member for 24 months. We have got a bit of breaking news coming in from, okay, interesting. I was going to talk, we'll go straight into this because beyond the spin, and I did mention at the start what David Ornstein said about Zirkzee. I really want to get into that, but Inacio, I believe it when I see it. Kvara, I believe it when I see it. Mainoo new contract, I believe that because I think that's like a new signing. And I want Mainoo to sign a new contract, by the way. This has just come out from Mullock in the Mirror, who used to be very well briefed under Ten Hag. I don't know anymore. Napoli are now expected to make a move for Marcus Rashford to replace the outgoing Kvara. That is literally coming out in the last few minutes. Now, this is what Zlatan had to say today about Marcus Rashford and AC Milan. He said, I know Rashford very well. I played with him when he was young. Now he's grown up and has done great things with Manchester United. I don't think I need to convince him because Milan are one of the biggest clubs in the world and everyone wants to come here. As of today, it's not an easy operation, but we've not spoken to him yet. We'll see if we speak to him. So that is Zlatan about Marcus Rashford. But in the last few minutes, it's come out that Napoli are interested in replacing Kvara with Marcus Rashford. Now, I think on many levels, that would be very interesting. I personally think that, and there has been reports today about Barcelona, I personally think we need to get to a point of resolution with this. As I said last night, from a selfish point of view, I want Rashford playing football as soon as possible, because if he's going to change his career around, and I hope he can, then that benefits us one way or another. Whether he comes back, whether we sell him, he needs to be playing. The longer he's not playing, the more, it's not healthy to not be playing. He's not travelled with Man United tomorrow. I think there was some suggestion that he might be involved if there's some rotation. He's not travelled with Manchester United tomorrow. So we need to move this deal for everybody, mainly for Rashford, but everybody needs to move this forward. Barcelona have been mentioned, Dortmund have been mentioned, Juventus, Monaco, Napoli, AC Milan. And as I said to you before, anybody who thought that people weren't going to be interested are foolish. People are always interested in good players, whether they're crap now, good now, injured now. They always will be, because it's like managing Man United. If Amorim gets sacked, why would anyone take that job when so many good people have failed? Because football's full of ego, and people will go, well, I can be the guy. And people will look at Rashford and go, well, we can be the team that gets the best out of him. And also, they're not paying for him. It's a loan deal. How many players would you take on loan at Man United that you wouldn't take permanently? Loads. Loads. So I'm not surprised by the interest in him. A 27-year-old with a point to prove on loan? Yes, please. So I think that, as Josh says, McTominay to the rescue maybe. Conte knows the Premier League. You've got Scott McTominay there who knows Marcus Rashford. You've also got a left wing berth available with Kvaratskhelia going. I think if, and it's a big if, we've had loads of clubs linked to Marcus Rashford, but I always thought that this would happen. And I said this last month. If I'm the president of any club that's a top club in Europe, I'm ringing up about Marcus Rashford. Because I just think that life is littered with broken relationships, people who leave jobs who aren't very good and then suddenly become good. People change when they've had a kick up the arse. And I do think it could happen, and I would be on the phone for that, especially in Serie A, because it's not as good as the Premier League. It's not as quick as the Premier League. And he can score goals. So I look at it now, and if Napoli are interested, I actually think Napoli would be a great fit. It could be a great fit for United. If I was Man United, I don't know whether I'd be saying loan. I'd be saying, you've just took 80 million off PSG. There could be a really good carousel going here. Napoli, PSG, Kvaratskhelia, Mendes, Man United, Rashford, Napoli. The money just moves around. It's FFP amazing. So, and who doesn't win in that? Kvaratskhelia goes to PSG, they win. Mendes comes to Man United, we need a left back, we win. Rashford goes to Napoli, they win. It could work for everybody. It's a really good triangle. And the money's there. 80 million, it moves around. So it could work really well. And I think that Napoli with McTominay, with Conte and that left wing place available, I think it would be a very, very good move for him. But it's the same as Juventus. It's the same as AC Milan. It's the same as Barcelona. We just have to wait and see how it develops out. But it's another interesting development. And yeah, there was something else I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. We'll just have to wait and see. Could this be the best January window for ages, says Chikorito? I think at the moment it's looking like the worst. It doesn't take much to be the best January transfer window Man United have ever had, though, considering we do next to nothing. Even the one where we bought Bruno, I think we needed to buy 2 players. Are INEOS still balancing the books from the summer, says Christian? Mark, the majority have yet to be convinced by INEOS, says Rohan. They strike me as misers who want to use their low investment strategy of marginal gains at United. Yeah, well, that won't work, in my opinion. The way you like heart surgery, Mark, you are Ralph. I think that's where it always comes from. Would it be a loan or a sale to Napoli, says Sly Cooper? Well, I think you'd take, if he's going on loan to AC Milan, he can go on loan to Napoli. I wouldn't be that pedantic or bitter. If Napoli say we want him on loan and Rashford wants to go there, I wouldn't go, you're not going there, when we were going to go do it with Milan. I think the obligation to buy thing is important for United. And Napoli would have cash on the hip. Mark, Rashford will be petulant tomorrow, says Captain. He's not there. He's not travelled, mate. Red Devil Germany's gifted 5 memberships, by the way. Welcome to Members Club Gatongu and The Illusion. Are you willing to pay 200k a week to Mainoo, considering he's not won anything yet? Potential talent, what are your thoughts, says Sai? Yeah, but that 200k a week thing from Mainoo won't happen, and was actually very irresponsible reporting, because it's just caused people like yourself to have a negative opinion of Mainoo, and that's not what's going to happen. Amorim said not taking sporting players. Slow news, says Gatonga. Luke Hughes, thank you very much. Love your channel. Please unblock me, says AZ. Well, you're not unblocked. You're there. These sorts of names never happen. Okay, let me move back to that then. Yeah, 200k was just a vile rumour, says Savage, and some people have bitten on it, unfortunately. There was something here. Close to the man. Yeah, this afternoon, it was basically saying that reports was saying that Rashford was close to Milan, but then there was also reports that Barcelona were going to hold talks next week. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But Zlatan has said they haven't held talks with Rashford. The Rashford deal could... I don't think this is beneficial for Rashford, by the way, but the Rashford deal could be still another 2 or 3 weeks away. If he's not held talks with Milan yet, and he's going to hold talks with Barcelona, and Napoli are going to enter the race as well, this might not get done until the back end of January. I don't know who that benefits. I understand that you've got to take your time, you've got to speak to everybody, you've got to think it through. It's a big, big choice. If you think about it, you put yourself in the shoes of Marcus Rashford, it's a bit like, you know, I remember being like this as a kid. I've told this story before. There used to be a really good TV show called The A-Team. And there was 4 characters, Face, Murdoch, BA and Hannibal. And I'd been to the dentist and my mum took me to the toy shop and she said, you can have one of them. And I was like, oh, can I have 4? She said, no, you can have 1. And I was like, oh, I don't know which one I want. I really like Hannibal, but I like BA as well. And I was like, oh. And then I was thinking, what about Face or Murdoch? And I ended up going with Hannibal. And on the way home, I opened the box and I was messing around with him, playing with his gun and stuff. And then I thought, oh, I wish I had BA. But then if I'd got BA, I think I would have wanted Hannibal. So you can put yourself in Rashford's shoes and it's like the dream, isn't it? Milan want me, Barcelona want me, Napoli want me, Dortmund want me. And you think you know what you want, but then you do it and you think, oh, I should have gone there. So it's a tough choice. I understand why it takes a bit of time, but he hasn't played football since the middle of December. If he doesn't play football to the end of January, he's then almost starting like a pre-season, isn't he? So he does need to be playing football sooner rather than later. And it'll be interesting to see where he decides to do it. But I don't necessarily think it's going to happen at the start of next week. I think it could still take a bit of time. I don't see him playing for Man United in that time. I was surprised he wasn't in the squad for tomorrow, but it makes sense, I suppose. Well, I say I was surprised. I agree with it. I think there's a lot of people that want to write a lot of things about this story, but ultimately, before we talk about Zirkzee and another thing, it is a Saturday night show, so we can riff off a little bit. Let's not forget Amorim's role in all of this. No manager's done this. Mourinho flirted with it. Ollie never would have done it. Ten Hag didn't seem to want to do it, even though he maybe should have done it. And what I'm talking about is selling Rashford or moving Rashford out. Amorim's come in and done it straight away. People talk about, you know, Belfast or Rashford's bad form over the last 18 months or, you know, some fans don't rate him or like him anymore. You know, whatever. People come up with all sorts of conspiracy theories as to why Rashford's leaving in January. There's only one reason, and that is Amorim. Amorim is the only guy that's come in and gone, I don't find you acceptable for what I want to do. Otherwise, he'd still be here. He'd still be putting the shirt on. He's not leaving because fans have forced him out. He's not leaving because he wants to. I think it's because Amorim came in and went, no. And I do. Look, I was asked a question on That's Football Today. Over the last 10 years, name a player that you thought was going to be amazing, but didn't. And I can't remember who somebody said. It wasn't a Man United player. If someone in the chat can remember who it was. But I said Rashford and Martial. I tweeted it 7 years ago. These two players are going to dominate the Premier League for the next 10 years. And I was convinced. And I don't normally get it wrong. I trust my opinion on talent. And I'm stunned. I'm stunned what happened with Martial, and I'm stunned what happened with Rashford. I really did think that they were going to be United superstars, and at some point that needs analysing. But I do think that. Well, I don't know actually. What do you think about INEOS's role in this? Do you think that they've backstabbed Rashford? Do you think he was crying in the FA Cup final because they'd done their review and felt they wanted to move him on and Ten Hag begged for him to stay? There's all sorts of conspiracy theories. What's very, very clear is that INEOS are not the Glazers. They don't say to, you know, you're not selling Martial and you're not selling Rashford. They clearly back the manager on it. But Yeah, interesting. Any chance of introducing Derek to Linda Searles as she hadn't had the privilege yet? Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. Gavin, I don't know where Derek is. Oh, he's here. He's always been here. There, look. Derek's here on a Friday night. Saturday night. Seb's been playing with him, that's why. Talking nonsense probably. Is our window a domino effect, waiting for one to move before the wind takes hold? Yeah, Derek says Ray's on it. Look, that's my only hope, Ray, in this transfer window. Erin B, welcome to Members Club. Yeah, that is my only hope in the transfer window now, because we're nearly halfway through it. I'm just hoping that if Casemiro goes, it frees up money. Because when David Ornstein says that Manchester United are struggling to pay the wages of Mainoo, not Mainoo, Moani, but then 2 days ago he's saying that there's things Man United can do to buy players, I think that is the truth. I think that when David Ornstein said that it's not as bad as people think it is and there are ways that Man United can buy players, I think it's through selling to buy or moving some people on. We haven't done that yet. So as of today, I don't think we can get Moani because nobody's gone. And one thing Chelsea would do is they would definitely just get Moani in and down the road back themselves to get the wages in. But the Glazers won't do that. INEOS won't do that. They won't take that risk that let's get Moani in now because we'll cover his wages when we get rid of Casemiro. They're business people, so they're too risk averse. They'll be like, we're not spending on Moani until we've moved Casemiro out. And that will probably mean we miss out on Moani. And in football, you've got to take risks. And the business approach won't help. And anybody who thinks that I'm wrong on that, we've already seen the evidence of it for years and years and years with the Glazers. And we've already seen it with INEOS as well. Did INEOS go, you know what, I'm convinced we'll get rid of Scott McTominay before the end of August. We need a Ugarte for the start of the season. Let's spend the money on a Ugarte now, loan it, whatever. Just, doesn't need to be accounted for until the end of June next year. Let's get a Ugarte in for the start of the season because that'll help us. And we'll definitely sell McTominay before the end of August. No, we didn't do that. We waited till we got rid of Wan-Bissaka, and we waited till before we got De Ligt and Mazraoui, and then we waited till we got rid of McTominay until we got Ugarte. So, yeah, I think when David Ornstein is saying Man United can't afford Moani's wages, it's because we're run by business people who won't take risks and will not get Moani until we've moved somebody on. And that's not the way to run a football club, unfortunately. But I do agree with you. Derek, you're getting on my tits. I do agree with you that that's probably what's happening. Well, I hope that's what's happening. I hope that once we've moved some players on, we'll bring some players in. What about Tomori? Do you think it could work, says Blessed? I don't think we need a right-footed centre-back. That's an awesome goal, says Constantine. Why can't we win the Premier League this year, says AZ? Kyle Walker fired from City, just in by Fabrizio Romano. Is it? Is it really? Why would he be fired? What's he done? Kyle Walker's been asked to leave Man City 2 days ago. Kyle asked to explore the options to play abroad and end his career. Says, oh no, he's asked to leave City. Okay, he's not been fired. That's a bit different. Any chance of done that one, Gavin? Thank you. Erin B, welcome to Members Club. I don't trust INEOS, says Boy. Do you think Tomori would be a good signing, says Blessed? I like Tomori. I just don't think he fits in what we need at the moment. Evening Mark in the chat. Here's to 33 months as a member, says Tom. Legend. Any non-news on who could replace Rashford? If we need to, what do you think? I think I've said this before. I think it's all about... I don't think we need to replace Rashford in the like-for-like sense. I don't think we need a left winger. I think we need an attacking midfielder who can play in behind the striker and a left-back who can go up and down. Are INEOS still balancing the books? Okay. Yeah, done that one. Okay, let me move on. Zirkzee. This, to me, was a really interesting bit of story today, which I probably would have expected to just spend a nice, relaxing Saturday night show talking about. But there's actually been quite a lot sort of breaking. Also, in the last few minutes, just reading this on MUFC MPB, Al Nazir's media advisor says that reports about negotiations to sign Casemiro are false. All the news circulating about Al Nazir negotiating with the player Casemiro is incorrect. The coming period will be full of names of players who will be linked to Al Nazir, as we are used to. You will find the official news through Al Nazir's official account. But other than that, it is just news and efforts that we will not be able to deny daily. The team has important matches coming up and your stars need support. Okay. That would just be bloody great if Casemiro stays. He's probably going to start tomorrow, isn't he? Anyway, look, what I wanted to talk about, because it become from David Ornstein, it's obviously an interesting story. Basically, what's been said is that Manchester United consider Zirkzee. Where was this story? I don't want to misquote David Ornstein, but I'm pretty sure it was him who said it. Basically, Zirkzee's a mistake. Yeah, here it is. Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United hasn't really gone to plan, and there is a feeling inside United that it was a mistake. David Ornstein, The Athletic, via @United exclusive. I knew I'd read it somewhere. Yeah, multiple people reporting that as well, so I'm safe, thank God. I like David Ornstein. I certainly don't want to be misquoting him. I'm sure he'd message me. Yeah, what's your thoughts about that? I mean, David Ornstein's very respectable, and I think that's quite damning. I really do. I don't think David Ornstein's really normally that type of journalist anyway. There's nothing wrong with that. Honesty sets everybody free, but when David Ornstein says that people at Man United think Joshua Zirkzee's a mistake, that's a big one, isn't it? I think he's got to go. I don't want that to happen. I've backed this player from the summer. I've said it's way too early to judge him, but you know, stories change opinions. And when David Ornstein's saying that people at Man United think Zirkzee's a mistake, I instantly think, well, I don't know what's going on at Man United. I never do. I don't. You don't. But I think David Ornstein's reputation, he doesn't write stuff like that unless it's good. And I'm not going to sit here anymore saying we've got to give him time and we've got to be patient when one of the best sources in football is saying that United think they made a mistake. That doesn't mean I'm saying sell him, get rid of him, he's a load of shit. I mean, I'd love it if he scored a hat-trick tomorrow and turned it around, but it's not, you know what, the reason I'm saying this is because I always try to be balanced when we can be balanced. I said last night, when we heard that Zirkzee wants to stay, I said, well, yabba dabba doo, you signed for us 6 months ago. Why have we had 6 months of you being unsettled then? Like, what's going on? Man United aren't linking you to Juventus and AC Milan. Your people are talking to them. Why are they doing that in your first 6 months? So if you are staying, stop your people talking about fucking going to Italy and focus on Man United because we're Manchester United. And I was quite harsh about that because I feel strongly about that. A new signing shouldn't be flirting with other clubs. The flip side to that coin is Man United feel they've made a mistake. Maybe that's why he's talking to other clubs, you know. And you've got to be fair there. I don't like the fact that every 2 weeks Zirkzee's linked to Italy. I don't like the fact that Romano said this week that Zirkzee's agent's been talking to Juventus for weeks. That's not good for a 6 month signing. He's only been here 6 months, sorry. But then when David Ornstein is saying that people at Man United think it's a mistake, there are two sides there. Zirkzee might be unsettled, but if United think they've made a mistake, this is a relationship that's toxic on both sides. And if the money's there, which it clearly is, because Juventus want him, maybe we should be cashing in now. I mean, that's a way to get some money into the club, isn't it? You think you've made a mistake, he's not settled, and someone wants to buy him. Again, it's the perfect triangle. You got Kvaratskhelia to PSG, Mendes to us, Rashford to Napoli. You've also got Man United not happy with Zirkzee, Zirkzee not happy with Man United, Juventus saying come to Papa. So I think that I didn't expect to be talking about Zirkzee tonight. I thought that we'd filed that. But again, a big drop, a big story from a credible journalist. And you sort of go, well, if United think they've made a mistake, why should I invest myself in leave him alone, give him time? When his people are talking to Juventus, United apparently think they've made a mistake. Why would I sit here going, it's fine, give him time, you know, it's going to be fine. And it could be fine, and we should give him time. We shouldn't be writing him off, but what I'm saying is it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good from either side. One side's talking to Juventus, the other side think they've made a mistake. Sometimes it's better to part ways and move on. And let's not forget, really important, and this applies to everybody, Amorim didn't buy him. So if you're unsure, and he's unsure, and Amorim didn't buy him, you take it away. Why should Amorim have to deal with the mess that INEOS and Zirkzee created themselves? He didn't do it. Alex Zed says, I don't mind Zirkzee wanting to leave and United see him as a mistake. My problem is how unprofessional both sides are being. Work together for a move. INEOS is the best thing to happen since Sir Alex's Red Army. You know, sometimes you talk sense and sometimes you talk absolute shite. Any INEOS signing is up for debate, especially if the manager has no say like they want it to be. Eric Ten Hag didn't really use him beforehand, says Ray Cowley. Zirkzee needs to go now, otherwise it will be very difficult for him to redeem his career. Italy's the place for him to do that, says Paolo. And Josh Burke says, whatever you think about the lad, that's got to be rough to hear. And he hasn't been confident already. Josh, absolutely spot on. I mean, look, anybody who watches the United Stand will know that I've ferociously defended Zirkzee from August till probably, well, now. But I certainly remember it around September, October time. There'd be people in the chat, there'd be people on social media saying Zirkzee's shit, Zirkzee's this, that. And I'd say, hold on a minute. There's so many players that have come to this club and started badly. There's so many players that have started at other clubs and turned into top players. And also, it's not like we're a settled team. We're a bloody nightmare. So I think we can cut any of our new signings some slack and give them a bit of patience. And I would still say that in a footballing sense, especially, you know, walking off the pitch against Newcastle after half an hour and getting the treatment that he got. But there seems to be something else at play here. And it just feels like you're banging your head against the brick wall saying, we've got to give Zirkzee time, we've got to give him time. We have got to give him time, but it doesn't feel like either side want time. So if he wants to go and United aren't sure, or he's not sure and United want him to go, or they're both not sure, maybe we should just get on with it. Rashi for some Barca players, I'll do it, says Ruddy. Arahu is apparently available. Glazer's saying you got Ahmad this T window, says Samir. Do you think we can win the Europa Trophy and retain our FA Cup with our current squad, says OTG? Look, we won the FA Cup with a worse squad last year. The Europa League is not the Champions League. I think we can. I think it will be more obtainable if we bring players in, but I think we're going to need a bit of luck, injuries, etc. But I think we can do it. Why do you think Amorim wants a left back when he previously played wing backs? Maybe because of the quality of the Premier League, says Red Devil Germany. I don't think he wants a left back. I think he wants a left-sided player. And Nuno Mendes is a very attacking left back. Alphonso Davies is very attacking. He hasn't got wingers who can play the 3-4-3 he played at Sporting. And he hasn't got a left back, so he needs a left back, basically. But it can't be a defensive left back. It's got to be an attacking left back. Zirkzee's hold-up playing a United jersey is atrocious, says Caitlin. Sal says, welcome to the Members Club. Alex, yeah, I've read that one as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Don't forget about Diego Leon coming. I haven't forgot about that. Sorry, I'm just having a look at something. Just want to check something. But he's not coming until the summer. So, yeah, as much as I haven't forgot it. That looks all right. I just put a couple of things up there, you see, that just fill that gap a little bit. All right, going back down now. What about Inacio? Says Alice. Mate, believe it when I see it. How can you be signing Inacio when you haven't got any bloody money to pay Mawani's wages? We're going to have to sell to buy, aren't we? Yeah. Playing with no wingers isn't the United way, says Tom Davies. Andreas says Zirkzee's hold-up play is the best part of his game. And sorry, may have missed it, but tomorrow's prediction, says Dellen. Well, it can only be a win or a loss because there is no draw, extra time and penalties. So I'm going to go with the Manchester United win. Do you think we should buy Kuna in the summer? I like Kuna. I like Gyökeres. I like Mendes. If you gave me those three players now, I think it would improve us massively. But what we fundamentally have to remember is that Ruben Amorim has not had one player yet. We bought players in the summer, and it feels not that long ago. But Ruben Amorim wasn't the manager then. Ruben Amorim's not had one player. He must be given at least 6 or 7, and we've not given him one yet. So, opinions on trying Anthony as a striker, says it's say JR. No comments. I don't even want to waste seconds talking about Anthony. I mean, he's done at Man United. Hopefully, Binder will do better, says Paul Lucas. You know what? In relation to the game tomorrow, I really hope he doesn't rotate. I really don't. I don't understand it. I will not understand it. I think tomorrow is our biggest game in weeks because it's the FA Cup. We're the holders. We're away from home against the good side, and it's going to be a real test. If we rotate in that game and then pick a strong team against Southampton, I'll be despairing. I won't understand it. Southampton are horseshit, and we are done in the Premier League. We are nowhere near doing anything. If we go stronger against Southampton than Arsenal, what the fuck? Like, have we lost reality? The FA Cup last season rescued us. If we hadn't won the FA Cup, we would have been 8th and not in Europe. And in a really bad year, we qualified for Europe, which is now our salvation in the Europa League, and we won a trophy. If we rotate for the FA Cup, I can't speak. And I love Amorim, but I can't speak. I don't understand why you would do that. So hopefully it's just the goalkeeper that's being rotated, because if we rotate, if we see Johnny Evans starting tomorrow and Eriksen and Casemiro, I'll be like, what the fuck are we doing? That's the only thing that's worrying me about tomorrow. Is he going to rotate? Because there's just no sense to it. The league is the thing to sacrifice, but we don't need to sacrifice anything at the moment. But that's the one. Would you sacrifice the youngsters to raise dollars to get people in for now? Says who to blame? No, because I think you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, aren't you? Whatever that means. If you sold Mainoo for £100 million to bring in Mendes and, I don't know, Edison's just replaced Mainoo, and you've got a left back out of it. So you could say you're getting 2 for 1, but Edison gets injured, you've got no midfielders. Sell to buy, I don't like. Because it's sell to buy is fine when it's Wan-Bissaka and McTominay, when they're bench players. But sell to survive is selling players that are part of your future to bring other players in. And we've never been that. Never been that. We've played our best football away from home against the best. We have to go full strength tomorrow, says Dellen. Would INEOS likely go all out in the summer? Yes, it's January. If we fail European football, judging now, I'm starting to think probably not, says Ray. The interesting thing is about this whole summer is that nobody does it. Aston Villa are going to buy players in January. Spurs are going to bring players in. Man City are bringing players in. All these teams are not having a great season. So going hard in the summer, what does that even mean anymore? You have to be, if you're underperforming, you've got to be active, and we're underperforming, so we should be active in the transfer window. I'm waiting on the Rashford soon, where he has been looking for a move all window and then nothing happens. He will have been trying, but ultimately wants to stay. But really, we couldn't ship him, says Dan. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if you're in Marcus Rashford's shoes, so many clubs want you. Amorim doesn't. Why would you? You know, his journey at Man United may well be over. It might not be, but I think for the immediate future, he needs to go and play football and enjoy it. Do you miss goals and creativity yet, Marks? Do you miss my goals and creativity yet, Marks? Says Scott McTominay. No. Nate says, I love news, but there quite simply is none. I think you need to open your mind, mate. We've literally spoken about 6 or 7 articles tonight, which have 3 or 4 of which have come from very, very good sources. So if you don't think that's news, then I think you're going to be very, very disappointed in life. J.E. says, Mark, giving United's possible... There's no transfers. I agree with that. I don't think anyone's being signed imminently, and I don't think anyone's going imminently, but there's a lot of updates. J.E. says, given United's possible paths, what odds do you place on the possibility the club misses Europe altogether, higher or lower? Well, mate, if you want Europe next year, you've got to win the Europa League. I wouldn't say it's 50-50 that we're going to win the Europa League. I'd say it's way below 30%. I'd say the chances of European football next year for Man United are about 25%. I think we will win the Europa League, but I'm not saying it like, you know, get your suntan lotion on. It's definitely going to be sunny tomorrow. I mean, it's January. It probably won't be, but you never know. No, I think we're going to win the Europa League, and it's based on a hunch. I would not be saying our European chances are 50-50. We're not going to do it through the league. Got Arsenal away in the cup, and therefore you've got to win the Europa League. If we can win the FA Cup, Edvin, we would get the Europa League. I actually think winning the FA Cup is harder than the Europa League. Because I think to win the FA Cup, you're probably going to have... Well, you've got to beat Arsenal. You're still Chelsea in there. Man City are in there. Liverpool are in there. Whereas in the Europa League, I don't think there's teams as good as that. So I'd say that winning the Europa League is easier. Do you think there's any chance for change with INEOS, says Zenon? No, I think we're stuck with INEOS and the Glazers now for many years, unless something happens like it did with the Super League, where fans get so united and irritated that they force change. The Glazers were terrified by what happened after the Super League, and INEOS certainly wouldn't like it either. But is there any appetite for United fans to do anything about it? I don't. I think you could argue we're in a worse position now than we've ever been, and people have just sat around going, let's see what happens. So I think that's the only way change would happen, is if this was Liverpool and they wanted to make a change, I think they would make a change, because I think their fans are a little bit different to ours in the way that they unite and get things done. I think if this was abroad, even better. But I think the only hope is hope. The only hope is that INEOS actually do know what they're doing. Just don't go looking at Nice for any clues. I meant nothing happening now, but could they open the checkbook in the summer, though maybe not if we're not in Europe, says Ray. What'll happen is, if we don't get European football, is we don't want to spend in January because we want to use the money in the summer. And then the summer, we can't spend because we're not in Europe. So you'd look back to January and go, well, you should have spent to get us in Europe. We need to go hard in the FA Cup. Could stop Liverpool winning the treble, says Gustav. Don't depress me even more. I have not for 1 second thought about Liverpool winning a treble or a quadruple. Yeah. That seems to me every year we always have to stress about someone winning the treble. Why can't it be a balanced English scene where someone's going to win the FA Cup, someone's going to win the League Cup, and someone's going to win the Champions League, and someone's going to win the bloody Premier League? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Greg Donald, what's the news on Kobe? The Romano said that Man United are working on a new contract, which begs the question, why did INEOS put it out there that they want to sell him? Which begs the question, is it spin? to make us announce Kobbie Mainoo in the last week of the January transfer window and go, it's like a new signing. It's like a new signing. I don't know. Big game tomorrow, Mark, says Liam. Yeah, looking forward to, actually really looking forward to it. I think the downside of only having one game in a week, it's great for Amorim, it's great for the players, but for the fans, we've not played since Liverpool, which is 7 days. It's nice to have a midweek game just to take your mind off the constant shit that we get fed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. It's a bit of escapism tomorrow. How was your takeaway, Mark? Says Really Rowdy. I had an Indian takeaway. It's very, very nice. Thank you. Very, very nice. Mark, if we perform tomorrow like we did against Newcastle, what's next for Amorim? Says Rabas. Nothing. What's it got to do with Amorim? Is my reaction. I think if we get beat 6-0 tomorrow, there'll be no pressure on Amorim. Not from United fans, I don't think so. DK says, you underestimate teams in Europe. We came last in the Champions League group with Galatasaray in Copenhagen. DK, why does everything have to be extreme? If I say I think we're going to win the Europa League, it doesn't mean I'm saying everyone else in the Europa League is fucking shit. I'm saying I have a hunch we're going to win the Europa League. I'm not saying that anyone else in the Europa League is shit, but what I am saying is Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea are better than everything else in the Europa League, and they're all in the FA Cup. So I think on paper, the Europa League is easier to win. And also in the Europa League, you get 2 bites of the cherry all the way to the final. 2 legs. 2-legged football wasn't just invented so you had a home and away game. It was also invented to make sure the best teams get through. Because in one game, the underdog might beat you, but they're not going to do it very often over 2. So 2-legged games all the way to the final, we should be getting there. But as I say, I've seen plenty of teams in Europe play us off the park over the years. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoy having these Saturday night chats now. Nice to have them back. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Tomorrow we are kicking off at 3 o'clock. So Forum countdown to kick off will be in the Manchester studio. I think we're live from about 1. But there should still be a morning show at 10 with yours truly. So thank you everyone. Really enjoyed the show tonight. Absolute legends. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Take care. Match day tomorrow. Exciting. Looking forward to it. Let's hope we can build on what we saw at Anfield last week. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and get a good night's sleep, whatever you're doing. And I'll see you tomorrow for the match and the morning show. Take care. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.